Good day, everyone. So today we will be discussing performance management. To understand why performance management is a cornerstone of effective HR practices, let us explore its significance and how it impacts organizational success. Before diving deeper, let us set the stage by understanding the broader picture of performance management and its core purpose. So here's what we'll cover in this session, starting with what is performance management. So we will be defining what is performance management. After that, the importance of performance management. Another is performance management versus performance appraisal. What are their differences? And of course, steps in performance evaluation. So each year, workers experience a sort of evaluation period, a formal evaluation for their performance in the workplace. So assessing employees' performance is an important part of managing people. It helps measure how well they are doing and gives feedback for improvement. However, it's not always simple and needs careful planning to be fair and accurate. While performance evaluations are critical for maintaining effectiveness, they are not without challenges. Always remember that performance evaluation systems are not flawless. They are essential for companies to function effectively, but unexpected issues can still arise. This means we should focus on improving these systems while being mindful of their limitation. So let us now proceed and look at the bigger picture. So let us now define performance management. So performance management is a systematic process aimed at enhancing the overall performance of an organization, team, or even individual. It's not just always a single event, but ongoing cycle that includes setting goals, monitoring progress, developing skills, providing feedback, and of course, conducting evaluations. By focusing on this continuous cycle, organizations can ensure alignment between individuals' effort and, of course, the broader business goals, fostering growth and productivity. With an understanding of performance management process, let us break down into its components. So the components of performance management are essential building block for ensuring success. So it begins with goal setting. Pag sinabi natin goal setting, it is where individual and the organizational objectives are aligned to provide clear direction. After that, next will be performance monitoring. So, performance monitoring tracks progress towards this goal, offering real-time feedback and adjusting objectives as needed to stay on course. Next will be performance development. So, performance development focuses on identifying opportunities for growth by providing the necessary training and resources to help employees achieve their full potential. So together, these components create a comprehensive systems that drives both individual and of organizational success. Another, we have performance evaluation. This is another components for performance management. So performance evaluations are formal reviews that assesses an individual's work performance, providing an opportunity to reflect on achievements and of course identify areas for improvement. To complete the components of performance management, we have your regular feedback. So it's an ongoing process that tracks progress towards goals, offers real-time insights, and adjusts objectives as needed. So that will be our components for performance management. So let's proceed with the importance of performance management. So we have here six reasons why, again, performance management is important. One is your clear goals alignment. So performance management ensures that individuals and team goals are clearly defined and of course aligned with organizational objectives. This clarity provides direction and helps everyone works towards shared success. Another is your motivation and engagement. So by setting meaningful goals and providing regular feedback, Performance management fosters motivation and keeps employees engaged, making them more invested in their work or to their role in the organization. Another is your performance tracking and improvement. So through ongoing monitoring and assessments, organization can track performance effectively. They can identify areas for improvement and of course implement changes to drive better outcome. Another is productivity boost. With well-defined expectations and consistent feedback, employees can focus their efforts more effectively, leading to increased productivity across organization. Have also informed decision making. So performance management provides data and insights that supports better decision making, whether it's about promotion, training needs, or even resource allocation. And last is your facilitated communication. So regular performance discussions encourage open communication between employees at the same time to their managers, wherein strengthening relationships and foster a culture of transparency. So let us now clarify the distinction between performance management and performance appraisal. These terms are often used interchangeably but serves different purposes. So let's take a look at first on performance management. So performance management is a continuous and holistic process. It includes setting goals, monitoring progress, providing feedback, at the same time facilitating employee development. Now, the aim of this is to improve performance at individual, team, and even organizational levels while ensuring ongoing communication and alignment with organizational objectives. On the other hand, we have performance appraisal. It is a component, okay, of performance management. Again, it's a component of performance management. It is typically a periodic review, often annual or semi-annual, focusing on individual achievements and areas for improvement over a specific period. Appraisals are more formalized and can influence decisions such as promotion. If maganda yung performance mo, you might consider promotion, salary adjustments, or identifying training needs. Kung may na-identify na you are not performing well, maybe they could look into what specific trainings is appropriate for that. So let's proceed with a further differentiation between the two. So we have here process, focus, communication, outcome, and alignment. So first is the process. For performance management, in terms of process, it is a continuous process, meaning it involves regular goal-setting feedback and development activities that happen throughout the year. Whereas for performance appraisal, it's a periodic, occurring at a specific intervals like annually or semi-annually, often as part of formal review. Another is focus. For PM, it takes a holistic approach encompassing goal setting, monitoring feedback, and employee development. So it is more like of proactive and forward-looking. Whereas ni performance appraisal, it's merely focuses on evaluating past performance and reviewing how an individual has met objectives or targets. Moving on, as to communication, for performance management, it encourages ongoing dialogue between the manager and employee to continuously discuss performance goals and challenges. Whereas for performance appraisal, it involves a formal structured discussions typically done during scheduled review meetings. What about outcome? So for performance management, aims at improving performance at the individual, team, and organizational levels by aligning effort with larger objectives. Whereas for performance appraisal, It has direct implications for promotions, salary adjustments, and identifying training needs based on your performance result. For alignment, aligns individual goals with the broader organizational objectives, ensuring collective progress for performance management. For performance appraisal, primarily assesses an individual's achievements and identify areas for improvement within their role. And as to scope, performance management has a broader scope addressing all aspects of an employee's performance growth and even contribution. Whereas for performance appraisal, narrower in scope, concentrating on the past evaluation or performance over defined period. In short, performance management is ongoing, a strategic process designed to support growth and continuous improvement, whereas performance appraisal is more of a formal educational tool used to assess past performance and make decisions about compensation, promotion, and development. So let's now proceed within the practical processes or the steps in performance evaluation. So we have here 8 steps. So these are your typical steps in performance management. So let's proceed with the first step. So the first step is to establish performance standard. And what are performance standards? So performance standards refer to explicit criteria that set the expectations for how well a person is supposed to perform in a given work or role. They act as a benchmark or a guide that helps both the employee and the employer know what is expected in terms of work output, quality, and even behavior. So in this particular step, just would like to highlight lang some of its key points like explicit criteria. What does that mean pag sinabing explicit criteria? So performance standards are clear and detailed. They specify rather what is expected in a job role, whether it's related to quantity of work, the quality or behavioral expectation. Whereas no expected levels of performance, these standards outline how well tasks should be performed. So for example, they might indicate that a sales representative should meet a certain sales target each month, or an office worker should complete a specific number of reports within a deadline. So, more detailed example, nakalagay dyan yung job rule. What else? At beside the job rule, naka-indicate dyan yung performance standards. Yun yung mga kailangan nilang i-achieve or i-meet. So, ayan. Just take a look at each one of them. These are example of establishing performance standard. The next step is communicating expectations. So after setting the performance standards, it's essential to effectively communicate this expectation to your employees, of course. This step ensures that everyone is on the same page regarding what is required of them in terms of performance levels, goals, and even behavior. So, in this particular step, again, it needs to properly communicate this goal. So it is important that expectations are communicated in a clear and simple manner, just like what we mentioned a while ago. Employees should have a thorough understanding of what is expected from them in terms of task, dapat na-explain sa kanila, ano yung outcome, and even the deadline at the level of quality required. As to communication, it can happen through various channels. Mabalin nga one-on-one meeting, team briefing, written guidelines, performance review, your job description also. And pag sinabing open dialogue, these steps emphasize the need for open communication. To whom? Of course, between the manager and the employee. So employees should feel comfortable asking questions if they do not fully understand the expectation or feel unclear about certain aspects of their role. And having an open dialogue also allows for feedback, where employee can voice their concern, provide suggestions, or ask for clarification about what they can meet the or how they can meet the expectation. Of course, there's a need for active listening. So managers should listen to employee feedback to ensure understanding. It can also gives you clarity for those ambiguities, meaning we need to address any unclear points to avoid confusion, and there should be a mutual understanding, meaning it ensures both parties agree on expectation to avoid. After the expectations are set, monitor performance against this standard is the next step. So this could involve observing the employee's work. Clearly, pag sinabi nating observing, regular watch or assess the employee's work to ensure its alignment with expectation. Also, analyzing productivity metrics. So, we need to use data and performance metrics. Ano yung mga metrics na yan? Sales, tingnan sa sales, project deadlines, and so on and so forth. Or gather feedbacks from colleagues and customers, and that the goal is to gather accurate information about the employee's performance. That is how we monitor performance. Another step is to compare performance standard. So after monitoring, the manager compares now the employee's actual performance to the established standard. This helps identify areas where the employee is excelling and where they might need improvement. So here, we need to spot improvement areas. We need to identify where performance is lacking or needs development. For example, in a call center, so if the standard for call for call center employee is 7 minutes for a call, so we need to compare it to the actual time taken for the employee to receive or talk to its client, and let us compare them if you're able to meet the target. Next is compare performance standards. So after monitoring, the manager compares the actual performance to the established standard. This helps identify areas where employee excelling and where they might need an improvement. Next, provide feedback. Provide feedback is the next crucial step where the manager gives the employee information about their performance based on the comparison to the established standard. So in this particular step, we need to be specific and constructive, meaning we need to focus on a specific aspect of performance, highlighting both the strength and areas for improvement. So for example, if the average handle time is above the standard, provide feedback on how to improve efficiency. We also need to recognize high customer satisfaction as their strength. And of course, timely and regular. Provide feedback promptly to address issues and reinforce positive behavior as soon as possible. In providing feedback also, there's a need for, of course, two-way communication. Meaning, it encourages a conversation, allowing this employee to share their perspective, ano pa ba, pwede pa yung mga challenges or any suggestions for improvement. And of course, actionable recommendation. Offer clear, actionable steps that employee can take to improve performance, such as reducing handle time or maintaining customer levels, customer satisfaction level. And of course, we have your sixth step is to conduct performance appraisal meeting. Here, it is where the manager now formally discusses the employee's overall performance based on the feedback, assessment na ginamit, and comparison made earlier. And of course, we have developed improvement plan. So here, we need to identify the gap. So, focus on areas for improvement. Ano yung example natin kanina? So, the average handle time. In the specific step also, we need to set clear goals. Again, yung palagi kong sinasabi, your SMART guideline. And of course, action steps. So, we need to outline specific action. Kailangan ba ng additional training? Anong specific training? And of course, provide support. We need to make it sure that resources are available. And of course, we have your implement and monitor the plan. So start the plan, meaning employee now begins working on the improvement action. Offer mentorship and check-ins during the process. And you need to make it sure that we measure the employee's progress and at the same time, we provide regular feedback. And of course, modify the plan if progress is slower than is expected. So, to close, just to give you lang a brief summary, where performance management is an ongoing, collaborative effort aimed at fostering employee development, improving organizational outcomes, and aligning individual performance with your strategic goals. Through structured steps, performance management ensures continuous growth and accountability. Let us continue our discussion on performance management. This time, we're going to focus on performance evaluation. Our points of discussion will be as follows. 1 is performance evaluation methods. What are those? 2, common errors made by raters. And 3, who should evaluate performance. So, performance evaluation method sounds like business jargon, doesn't it? But these methods play a crucial role in ensuring fairness, identifying areas for improvement, and driving organizational success. Without further ado, let us start. So, performance evaluation methods helps managers to understand their team's members' strength, identify areas for improvement, and make decisions about promotions or training needs. So, let us proceed na directly on the common performance evaluation method. So, starting with your rating scales. So, rating scales are the most widely used performance evaluation tools in organizations. These scales provide standardized ways to measure various aspects of an employee's performance, such as teamwork, leadership, punctuality, and quality of work. Here's how it works for your rating scale. So, the employee is assessed on each aspect, and the ratings are compiled to give an overall performance score. This method is simple, is structured, and helps ensure consistency in evaluations across the organization. So again, that is your rating scale. Next is your graphic rating scale. This method evaluates employees using a scale that measures a range of job performance characteristics. Each characteristic is assessed based on descriptive anchors, such as poor, average, good, or excellent. I know that you are familiar with this one. So we have also alternative numerical scales like 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. Yun yung mga usually na ginagamit natin in terms of graphic rating scale. So for example, as shown on the screen or on the slide, we have the quality of work. So for quality of work, you might be rated on a scale where 1 represents poor performance and 5 or 10 indicates outstanding performance. To ensure clarity, organizations often use descriptive anchors to define what each score means, helping evaluators make consistent and fair assessment. Now, this tool is straightforward. As you can see, it nade-determine niya agad kung ano ba talaga yung quality of work mo. Okay? And of course, it's widely applicable. But then again, it's essential to be mindful of how the criteria are defined and being interpreted. Let's move on the another type of performance evaluation tool. So we have yung bars na tinatawag. This is also known as your behaviorally anchored rating scale. So NIBAR is an advanced evaluation method that combines the qualitative nature of rating scales with qualitative descriptions of performance. So again, DUA, we are not only looking into quality but also quantity or qualitative and quantitative. So in your bars, it evaluates employees using a scale where each score is tied to specific behaviors or examples that define performance levels. For instance, dyan sa naka-blue na tawag dito, naka-blue na background. Okay? So, as shown on the slide, the performance dimension is dealing with difficult patients. Correct? So, each rating, meron tayong nakikita dyan from 1 to 5. Is anchored to clear, observable behaviors. So, this ensures that the evaluation is not only consistent, but also directly tied to job-related action. Your bars is particularly useful in reducing ambiguity and helping managers provide precise feedback. However, in terms of this particular performance evaluation tool, bars can be time-consuming as it requires detailed job analysis and the development of accurate behavioral anchors. So let's take a look at behaviorally anchored rating scale using the example of your CS, customer service skills. So bars ties specific behavior to performance rating. So meron kang nakikita dyan sa screen na poor. So usually we associate that in a pointing system na 1. So in this particular criteria, pag nakukuha ka ng 1, meaning you ignore the customer, you doesn't smile, and you are rude. For average, 3 points, greets the customer and takes the order correctly but lacks engagement. But if you're able to get excellent or your 5 points, meaning you cheerfully greets the customer, remembers their preferences, and makes them feel valued. So again, this method ensures clear, behavior-based evaluation that are both fair and job specific from the word behavior. So bars gives clear example of what behavior would earn an employee each score. It leaves less room for subjective interpretation and bias because it focuses on your observable behavior. Next, we have your ranking and paired comparison. Now, both of which are comparative evaluation methods. If we compare it from the previous methods, this involved comparing employees directly with one another rather than against specific performance standards. For ranking orders, the employees tawag dito, you rank them by order from best to worst. While paired comparison evaluates employees in pairs to determine who performs better. So as we go along, we will differentiate them. Okay, so unahin na muna natin tong ranking. So in this method, the manager ranks employees from the highest performing to the lowest performing. So the top rank employee is considered the best performer, while the bottom rank employee is seen as the least effective. Kasangkuman no tawag dito, search, for example. Diba? Nasinot aking nga to, is kalaingan, nasinot adjay baba, is iti medyo unay nga napintas iti performance na comparing kadigajay list nga adjay top. Okay, so meron tayong example dyan na tool for this particular form. We have also your paired comparison. Paired comparison, in this method, each employee is compared directly to every other employee. One pair at a time. Again, paired nga rod. So the employee deemed the better performer in each pair receives a point. Afterward, the points are tallied and employees are ranked based on their total points. Next, your checklist method. Ano naman tong checklist method na to? So in this method, a series of questions is developed and the rater checks of whether the employee being evaluated meets or does not meet the criteria described by each question. So, no, dati nga tool iti usarem, it's very straightforward. Kasi nga, you just need to answer. And easy to use. But then again, it may lack depth in providing detailed feedback. Aglalalo no open-ended question yung mga tanong. Okay? So, we have here an example. So, checklist for evaluation method for your CSR, your customer service representative. So, merong mga question dyan. For example, yung una, does the representative answer customer calls promptly? So, what you will need to do is only to check sa line ng yes kung yes, no kung no, then make a comment. Okay? Then next, you need to answer, does the representative provide accurate information to the customer? Again, ganun pa din. You need to check if yes, you need to check if it's no, until you're able to complete the questionnaire. Next, let us now explore the critical incident technique. So in this method, it involves recording and reviewing significant job-related events, behaviors, or incidents. Okay? Ito, yung sinasabi nating incidents, it's either positive or negative that had a strong impact on an individual's job performance. Now, these incidents are used to provide meaningful feedback at the same time help assesses overall performance. So, whether it's pangit na incident, napintas na incident, you need to record them. So in critical incident, again, it's a specific job-related event that stands out because of the significant impact on the outcome, whether positive or negative. So in critical incident, we need to identify your critical incident, we need to record and document at the same time, review and discuss. So example natin dito sa customer representative pa din. So, a positive critical incident could be a situation where a customer called in, extremely upset over a delayed delivery. So, the representatives remained calm, listened to the customer's concern, explained the issue, and offered a satisfactory solution. Pero pag negative critical incident naman, this could be a situation where a customer had a simple query about a product, but yung CSR cannot give accurate information. Okay? Leading to the customer making a purchase, they later regretted. Agbabawin kasi nga, you are not able to provide them a clear and detailed information about what you are selling. Next, let's proceed to another evaluation method. So we have here your MBO, or your Managed by Objective. In MBO, it is a performance evaluation method that focuses on setting clear and measurable objectives in collaboration with employees. Both the employee and the manager agree on specific goals, of course. Okay? And performance is then evaluated based on how well those goals are achieved. Of course, na nag-set ka 80 goals or objective, you need to make sure that you are able to meet them or target them or achieve them. So, dating a method, it fosters alignment between you, individual, and of course, the organizational goals. And it requires regular monitoring at the same time, feedback. In MBO process, meron tayong dapat tinitignan. 1 is goal setting. 2 is planning. 3, we need to process monitoring. 4, performance review at the same time, feedback. So, yan. In short, ni MBO, meron siyang step. Goal setting, very straightforward. You and the employee set clear objectives. Ni planning, you of course discuss how to achieve those objectives. Okay, you plan. What will we do? What are the steps? What are the things that we need to consider? Other than that, next is progress monitoring. So you regularly check, what is now your progress? Check the track progress, in short. Next is performance review. So at the end of the period, you assesses the employee's performance. And fifth, performance feedback. You give constructive feedback based on their achievement. So may mga example tayo dyan on how do we implement these steps. So yan, you and Alex discuss the steps needed to accomplish each objective. And so on and so forth. Next is your 360-degree feedback. Pag sinabi natin 360-degree feedback is a performance evaluation method where feedback about an employee is collected from multiple sources. Again, multiple sources who obviously interact regularly with them. Alangan mo't nga di kita ag-evaluate kataan nga mismo nga makakasalamuhang. And sino ba itong sinasabi na source? So we have supervisors. Bakit importante na i-evaluate ng supervisor? Obviously, because they provide insights on the employee's overall performance and alignment with organizational goals. They are the first-hand information na nakaka-observe sa kanila, how they work, how they behave, and so on and so forth. Peers also is one of the best source for this particular method. So share observations on teamwork, collaboration, and interpersonal skills. Subordinates offer perspective on leadership and managerial effectiveness. You have also your customers or your clients. Sometimes include to evaluate customer service and your external interaction kasi they are the ones who primarily, sila yung primary clients natin, so they know how do we perform, how do we deliver service to them. Okay, so ni 360 degree in MMSU, aglalalo kanya mga teachers, ito yung method na ginagawa nila. So at the end of the semester, di ba, you know naman that you're going to evaluate us. So and you as a student, we are considered you as our customer or our client kasi kayo yung end product. Okay? You are peers, our colleagues. What else? Our supervisor, they are going to evaluate us. They are going to evaluate me, ni program department chair, at the same time ni dean. Okay? So, lahat. So this method gives a well-rounded view of the employee's strength and even areas for improvement. So in 360-degree feedback is in performance evaluation method offering, again, yung sinabi natin kanina, a full picture assessment. So since sabi natin there are a lot of sources, meaning there is a multiple perspective. So feedbacks is gathered from individuals in various roles. We have also comprehensive assessment. So it evaluates an employee's skills, even behavior, but more importantly, overall performance comprehensively. 3, awareness and development. So in here, employees gain insights into their strengths and areas for improvement. So no na-evaluate ka, rimwar nga, hang kagayam unay nga nalaing agsuro. So what will you do? Okay, so what will you do? So maybe you, next time you need to prepare. Okay, naglaing agisuro. So what will you do? Okay, balance feedback also. So with input from diverse source, again, sino yung mga source mo? Manager, supervisor, peers. It provides a more objective and a well-rounded evaluation of the employee performance. So now that we already know our evaluation method, let us proceed now with the common errors in performance rating. Oo, in evaluating, madami din tayong errors dyan. And this is important so that, of course, subjectively, objectively, DJ pinag-rate tayo kadigazay, employee or our coworkers. So, common errors made by raters during performance evaluation. A rater is human and all humans are subject to these cognitive biases. Hindi natin matatanggal yun. Pero, kaya nga meron tong mga ito, method, so that, yun nga, maging objective tayo in terms of evaluating employees. Hindi dahil kap-apam isuna, kagurguram isuna, ay makareceive ka kanyang itinababang evaluation. Huwag naman ganun. Okay? So, pag sinabi nating biases or cognitive biases, this is a performance evaluations are psychological tendencies or errors in thinking that can influence the judgment of the evaluator, leading to unfair or inaccurate assessments of an employee's performance. So, ano digitoy nga common error? We have one, halo effect. Halo effect is a cognitive bias where one positive trait or behavior of an individual affects the overall evaluation of their performance. For example, if an employee is very punctual, the evaluator might unconsciously rate them highly in all areas such as teamwork or productivity. Even if their performance in those areas isn't as strong. Yung gaputa halo, may iramraman. This error can lead to inaccurate evaluation and unfair assessment, emphasizing the need for objective and specific criteria in performance review. Another, we have your horn effect. In cognitive bias, where a single negative trait or behavior of an individual unfairly influences the overall perception of them. For example, if an employee makes a mistake in one project, the evaluator might perceive them as a general incompetent, even if they perform well in other areas. Okay? Nagkamali ka lang, itimesa nga project, mo di si evaluator, ay ag-asum isunan, amin nga project nan, amin nga area, so error amin nan, oray haan met. Okay? So this bias can lead to unfair evaluation and of course hinder individuals' growth, highlighting the importance of focusing on objective performance data rather than isolated lang naman na incident yon. Next, leniency bias. Ano naman tong leniency? So, this tendency to rate all employees higher than their actual performance deserves. Very lenient. Medyo word dukwa kinya, ingaw sa renta yung dukwa. For example, ni manager mo. So, a manager might give everyone in their team average ratings to avoid conflict. Tap na naman team, makagurgura kanya. Inatok man lang amin nun na evaluation nun. Is that the proper thing to do? Is that the right thing to do? Tap nun ma-maintain ko ti positive atmosphere ito office, awan ti agririri. Diba? Or out of personal discomfort with giving low ratings, makonscious ka kasi mababain ka kasi nagbabait inted mo nga grade. Diba? So, this bias can distort performance evaluation, making it harder to identify areas of improvement and undermining fairness in rewards or promotion. So, we are not really trying to identify saan na talaga iti weaknesses tayo. Kasi nga, we are of this error. Mabaintay mo nga mani-identify doon na DJ weaknesses tayo. So, kasano tayo nga rin nga masolba. Next, central tendency. This occurs when a rater avoids giving very high or very low ratings. Instead, placing all employees around the average mark regardless of their actual performance. Kaya nga central. At the middle, is lang moderate or average. Hanggang nga too low, hanggang too high. For example, the manager might rate all team members as satisfactory to avoid singling out top or low performers. Hanga may highlight digito lang iti top performing. Ay digito lang digito mo digito mo nga employee iti dalat na baban, mga ganon. So this bias prevents accurate recognition of high achievers kasi nga adadyo damot amin tengan. Average damot amin, and so we are not able to recognize the high achievers and of course identify areas where underperformers need to support. Anti matulungan nun di adidje baban to improve kasi nga impantamot amin iji average sun, leading to an overall lack of meaningful feedback. We have also recency bias. This occurs when an evaluator focuses disappropriately on an employee's most recent performance rather than considering their performance over the entire period. Recent lang. Okay? So if an employee performed exceptionally well just before the review, ag-assume tayo manen nga they might receive a higher rating even if their actual overall performance was inconsistent. Yung kaputa, dandani pinag-evaluate yan, di lang iso nang nag-excel, i-assume nga for ore idipay. But, napintas iti performance na. Conversely, kabaliktaran na, nung recent lang na nagkamali ka, we assume that nababa iti evaluation mo and we assume that ore idipay talaga nababa iti performance mo. So, this can lead to inaccurate assessment and fail to reflect an employee long-term contribution. No, that met common errors na recency bias, we need to regularly perform tracking throughout the period and can help mitigate the issue. We have also similarity bias. Occurs when a rater favors individuals who share traits, interests, or characteristics similar to their own, leading to unfair evaluation. Kapot nagkapadat at hobby, okay? Kapot nagkapadat iti interest, agkapadat iti work lifestyle, orehan tagkapadat iti actual performance, dapat agpadat iti evaluation. Okay, so ako siya ni manager, mangtednak iti high rating kasi agkapadat na nga rutin bakit ito agkapadat background, agkapadat interest, hobbies. Okay? Nga, haan met nga DJ actual performance iti evaluate ko. Okay? So, this bias can create inequity and demotivate employees who don't say or who don't share similarities. So, unfair. Kasi nga, kasano nga ro dun no, hantag kapag iti hobby. Okay? Kaya't ko nga rin nga baliwan. Kasi nga, that's who I am. You need to evaluate me based on my performance. Yung nukastoy nga ron, di mapasamak, kawawa naman po tayo. So, that is one of the common errors. Another is contrast effect. This happens when the evaluation of one person is influenced by a comparison with others rather than their actual performance. Katay, similar, same me, or similarity bias that the contrast mode. So, for example, if an average performing employee is evaluated right after a high-performing colleague, so we assume that, or they might seem less capable and receive a lower rating than they deserve. Conversely, below average performer might appear better when evaluated after someone with poor performance. Next, your first impression or your primacy effect. This occurs when an evaluator's first impression of an employee disappropriately affects their overall performance. Your first impression. If an employee started the role with strong performance, the evaluator might continue to rate them highly, even their performance declined later. Yeah, first impression last nga ron, nga kung ko na tayo. And of course, no, you started poor, ang impression natin ay agnanayon nga poor ti performance na data. So we overshadow subsequent improvements. Oray, gapot ti gapot other factors like baro ka pay lang, you're new to the environment also, hindi lang sa trabaho. Yet syempre, you're not yet confident. So there's an room for an error. Yung, again, because of this error, you might able to ganun yung ma-experience mo later on. And this bias can lead to inaccurate evaluation kasi nga we are relying on first impression, hindi yung entire evaluation period. Okay? Hindi nung sa beginning lang, hindi lang rugurugin, ito pinang-judge mo. Okay? So, to combat cognitive biases in performance evaluation, organizations can implement several strategies. So, we have here objective performance criteria. Detoy, natin mapasigurado that evaluation are based on clear, measurable standards rather than subjective opinions. Also, we need to incorporate a structured evaluation form. We need to promote consistency across assessment, while regular feedback and documentation provide a continuous record of performance, reducing reliance on recent or isolated events, and that we need to engage multiple evaluators so that we allow for more balanced perspective, minimizing individual biases, and at the same time, we do collaboration meeting, wherein we help evaluators align their ratings and ensure fairness across the board. And lastly, yung blind review. We need to identify information na dapat natin na i-remove. We need to focus solely on performance and reduce the potential for, favoritism or prejudice. Okay? Importante yan. And now, let us see who would evaluate the performance. Sino ba yung in charge? Na-mention na natin actually din sa 360. So we have your direct supervisor. Sino niging siya direct supervisor? They are often chosen because they work closely with the employee and have a direct understanding of their day-to-day performance. Kasi kasuda ka na yung makakikita how did you perform in the or in your role or in your job or in your position. So of course they are the primary character in terms of performance evaluation. You have also your peers. Sino ba yung mga peers natin? Peers often have a unique perspective on individuals' teamwork, communication skills, and contribution to group project. Your self-evaluation. Oo. Kailangan mo ding i-evaluate or i-rate yung sarili mo. Okay? Subordinates, of course. This can provide valuable insights into leadership skills, communication, and employee engagement. How was you as being their supervisor or a manager? Your customer or clients also is part of who will evaluate employee. So this is particularly relevant for those roles that involves direct customer interactions or service. And of course, meron din tayong third-party evaluators. In some cases, external consultants or auditors may be brought in to conduct performance evaluation. And of course, multiple rater, yung sinabi natin ulit kanina, combination of all of the sources na na-mention natin kanina. Kasi nga, pag sinabing multiple raters or yung 360-degree feedback, we are looking into holistic view. Hindi lang, in-evaluate lang ni boss. Kahit kasano nga ro doon nakagurguran na ka. Okay? Or, in-evaluate lang ni peer. In-evaluate lang ni client. Tsak nga ro met 10, tumagbalik met nga ro din. So, multiple rated, holistic view of an individual's performance. And that's it. That is our second part of our performance management. Again, thank you all for listening.